It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Georgia Moylan with 2NURFM Hunter News. Former employees of Newcastle Airport's Sports Bar and Hungry Jack's are being paid up to 3 years' worth of back pay. Casual employees were mistakenly paid a flat hourly rate, resulting in over $472,000 being owed in unpaid loading. Fair Work Ombudsman's Director of Regional Services, Robert Price, says employers need to know their responsibilities.
This is an example of how important it is for employers to make sure that they understand the minimum wages and other allowances and penalty rates that they need to be paying to their employees. It's an example of how an inadvertent error can add up to a significant amount of money over time.
A popular family support service at Port Stephens has been thrown a financial lifeline after first being told it was missing out. The federal government will provide more than $316,000 to ensure the Port Stephens Family Support Service can keep the doors open for another 2 years. Patterson MP Bob Baldwin says families in crisis and victims of domestic violence rely on the service.
This $316,000 2-year extension on funding is critically important for my community, particularly those women and children in the community who have been benefiting in the past from the great work and services delivered by Port Stephens Family Community Service.
Growing evidence regarding the government's decision-making for coal mines in the Hunter Valley shows the risks of coal are outweighing its benefits and its value is declining rapidly. Revelations on a Four Corners report has prompted calls for an immediate rethink of state government priorities and the future of industries. Lock the Gates spokesperson Georgina Wood says New South Wales and Queensland decision-makers have been approving mines which cause damage to farmlands, water resources and public health.
The government needs to change the regulations to reprioritise and make sure that water considerations, biodiversity, amenity, and the livelihoods of other industries aren't put in jeopardy for an industry that the experts are now telling us doesn't have much of an economic future.
A renewable energy project with resources equivalent to 2 billion barrels of oil in the Hunter Valley has had its operations scrapped due to tough market conditions. The Hot Rocks project would have involved pumping water down boreholes into underground granite and using steam to drive power station turbines. Company Geodynamics says it's remediated 4 of its 11 wells in the Hunter Valley. Discussions about Newcastle and Lake Macquarie Council amalgamations are now underway near Newcastle Library. The initiative, spearheaded by the Greens, comes amid expectations Newcastle councillors will move to oppose the idea in tonight's council meeting, where rate rises will be used as an antidote to financial stress, prompting suggestions of mergers. Greens MP David Shoebridge says such a large council area would mean no councillor would get their head around the region's issues.
Threats that local democracy in the Hunter are facing from a state government based in Macquarie Street that wants to turn local councils into mega councils. It's the initial step, it's an initial meeting. But we think that the movement is growing, the grassroots resistance to these mega mergers is growing, and we'll be back again.
Wallsend's after-hours medical clinic could be set for close as its agreement with Hunter New England Health is set to expire. The service has been in operation since 1993, with MP Sonia Hornery set to start a petition to retain its operations. District Hospitals and Community Networks Director Susan Heyman says the service is able to continue at the same site without the nursing and administrative help of the health district.
So we've been in discussions with the doctors for quite some time now around the fact that the environment's changed from when they first started providing the service in 1993, and there's now a range of other after-hours services provided.
In finance, the All Ords is up 16 points at 55.57 and $1 Australian is buying 77.57 US cents.
Sport for our sponsor, newcastlecheapestcars.com.au.
Hunter local Toby Price is recovering well in his Aberglasslyn home after taking out 4th place in the Fink Desert race earlier this month. Price recorded a personal best time on the first day of the 452-kilometre race and kept his form on the home stretch to secure a place on the podium. The success came despite Price suffering significant ligament damage in his right knee after a branch pierced his boot during practice for the race just a week earlier. Knights coach Rick Stone will look at to put his best combination of players forward as the Knights look to turn their season around with a win against Cronulla at Hunter Stadium on Sunday. The loss of centre Joey Leilua will force Stone to look at a player reshuffle which could see Queensland shadow player Dane Gagai in the centre position and skipper Kurt Gidley at fullback. With the club still heavily depleted by an injury and a number of key players returning from State of Origin commitments later this week, final starting positions are still up in the air. And in golf, Muswellbrook professional Kurt Barnes will begin his US Open campaign on Thursday at Chambers Bay. That's sport. I'm Christine Sheridan.
2NURFM news time is 1:05.